Thank you for joining us for the 2021 Go Virtual Career Pathways Conference. I'm Pamela Rabin from the County Office of Education in the Innovation Division, and I am in the Ed Tech Department. I'll be your host today. I'm joined by my colleague, Alex Becker, who's our Zoom host, and he is from the CTE department, if I'm getting that right, Alex. Please feel free to use the chat to ask questions throughout the session. They will be answered as we can get to them. And right now, I'd really like to introduce our guest, Shahzad Bojani, the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools, who's presenting Micro Internships, Virtual Interactions Connecting Regional Industry Partners with Students aimed at teaching a select industry-specific technical and/or essential skills in a short period of time. So thank you, Shahzad, for being here today. We really appreciate having you, and I will let you take it away.
All right. Hi, everybody. Let me just share my screen real quick. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay, perfect.
Your whole, there you go. Now we see your presentation.
Okay, wonderful. So let's, I'm so happy to present and share this with all of you. Before we kind of get started, can we do some quick introductions, because we've got a pretty small group, and maybe that will help. So let me see. Anna, do you want to share a little bit about who you are?
Hi, Anna, you're welcome to unmute.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. My name is Ana Martinez, and I work at an adult school, so I'm just wondering how this would benefit adult educators.
Wonderful. Well, good. Glad to have you here. All right. Diane.
Good afternoon. Diane Walker. I'm the Director of Industry Liaison and Post-Secondary Partnerships for the Antelope Valley Union High School District, so not too far away from you. And I help oversee internships, so always wanting to learn more about best practices from everyone else. Thank you.
Great. Well, good to have you here. Jewel, I know most people know Jewel, but Jewel?
Hi, everyone. Jewel Alderson-Clark. I'm the Integrated Curriculum Coordinator for the County Office of Ed in San Diego. And thanks, everyone, for joining us for the conference.
Wonderful. Thank you for organizing this, Jewel. Karen? Karen, go ahead. Feel free to unmute yourself and introduce yourself, please.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Karen Dosher. I'm a career coach at UC San Diego. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Kelly?
Hi, my name is Kelly Shear. I'm the coordinator of career education for Laguna Beach Unified School District, and I work kindergarten through 12th grade to infuse career education in our district, and specifically interested in this internship program that maybe we could bring to our high school. And I just want to say, yay, Tritons. My son just graduated from UC San Diego in June, and now he's in the Brady School Masters of Professional Accountancy.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome. All right, Nicole.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Nicole Morsch. I'm a K-12 pathway coordinator for the San Diego Imperial region, also a Triton graduate. And I'm excited to hear about this as opportunities for our K-12 partners in using internships and different opportunities, micro internships in their learning. So thanks for having me.
Sure, sure. Patricia?
Hi, I'm Tricia Clark. I work as a pathway coach for several schools implementing linked learning in Oakland Unified, and I also facilitate a community of practice with schools in one of the big areas they're working, high schools that are working on work-based learning.
Wonderful, welcome. Sachdeva?
Hello, everyone. Nate Sachdeva. I'm a program manager with Office of CCTE with San Diego Unified, and I'm always interested in internships. Thank you.
Scott? Scott, are you there?
You're welcome to unmute if you need to. Maybe he stepped out.
That's all right. Did we miss anybody? I think Karen, did we get you already? We did, I think, right? Karen? Oh, there was two Karens. Karen, what about, Karen, go ahead.
Okay, I'm Karen Overclift. I'm Workforce Development Manager for Biocom California Institute.
Awesome, awesome. All right, welcome everybody. Let's get started. My name is Shahzad Bojani. I'm a program manager for the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools Office with the Alliance for Education. And the Alliance for Education is a department within the county office that is really there to support career readiness across San Bernardino County. We have two arms, as you can see in the screen. The first one is SB Connect, and the SB Connect department really works on connecting with industry partners so that they can be brought into our school systems. And then the ROP, as you see on the right of the screen, is the education arm of the Alliance for Education that focuses on programs and trainings and support for our school districts. And so it's a really unique opportunity. My background, as you can see there, is I'm a former middle school and high school science teacher and an administrator at the elementary and middle school level. And I really got intrigued with this work because I really, and as I'm sure all of you see the disconnect between education and the world of work. And so it was really important as I kind of tried to do that as a teacher, as an administrator, to kind of do that at a broader level in supporting 33 school districts within San Bernardino County. So we instituted the micro internships during the pandemic. We were trying to figure out, as I'm sure all of us were, in saying, how do we still provide opportunities to our students who need these hands-on experiences, who need these work-based experiences, and really are missing out, given that they're only working from home and doing schooling from home. And so that's where this kind of started. We reached out to a few of our partners and we asked them, if they were interested in doing some virtual interactions, no more than about 90 minutes per session. They could do one session or more to really connect our industry partners and small groups of students, no more than about 6 students, and really focused around specific workplace technical and essential skills, right? So it's nothing like having a guest speaker come to your classroom and talk about what they do. It's really focused around a specific skill, right? Whether it's an essential skill or a technical skill, given the technology. Our pilot was done in the Inland Empire, which is comprised of San Bernardino County and Riverside County. The Alliance for Education, we hosted 3 different micro internships. We have a region in the high desert in the Victorville area called MDCP, Mountain Desert Career Pathways. They hosted an internship, micro internship there as well. And one future Coachella based out of Palm Springs in the Palm Desert area instituted one in February and March. And so we really kind of put together all of our findings from these micro internships to put together a toolkit that we'll be sharing with you so that you can hopefully utilize it in your contexts. For our pilot, we looked at 3 different companies that I'll share with you in a few minutes and 3 different school districts, again, with very different and diverse student populations as we kind of go through this. So the first company that we worked with is called Converge One. And this, it's a national IT consulting firm based in Ontario, California. The presenter on the top left there is a gentleman by the name of Ash Hamdi. He was a huge supporter of our work. And so he was one of the first people that I thought to go to. He's a senior operations manager with Converge One. And he really wanted to talk to students about customer service related issues. He leads a pretty big team that does a lot of customer service related work. And he has developed a problem solving approach that he uses with his team. And so he taught students about how to apply that approach in personal and professional situations employing the methods, right, that are used by him to receive, understand, and solution find. It was really one of those where he talked directly to them about what happens when you got a customer who calls, who's disgruntled, right? They've got an order they've placed, and for whatever reason, the order hasn't got to them. How do you deal with that? And how do you develop those essential skills to be able to kind of manage that, track that, right, and then resolve it? The students that you see on that slide are not from a CTE class. They're actually from one of our AP computer science courses at Los Osos High School in Chaffee Joint High School District. And so, these were students who, again, were seniors in an AP computer science class, and you will see some of their feedback, right? Some of the questions that they asked were really insightful. They really showed how isolated, right, their learning is in terms of academics and not tied to the workplace. And so this was a really powerful experience for them. And guys, please, we're a pretty small group, so please jump in and ask any questions that you may have as we go through this. The next company that we worked with was a company by the name of Tecton Hospitality, and they are a resort furniture manufacturer based in Rancho Cucamonga. The presenter, as you see in those slides, is the Creative Design and Public Relations Director, a woman by the name of Kimberly Unzicker. And she worked with high school students in an entrepreneurship CTE class in Fontana Unified School District. And she wanted to teach them how to use a professional grade photo editing program to take an image, create a tagline, and place it on a website as part of a marketing campaign that she runs for the company. And so you'll see on the top right there, that's one of the designs, or one of the slides that was put together by one of the students who used the photo editing software called Photopia to be able to do this. And on the top left, right, you'll see again images of how
recording in progress, as well as making them enjoyable and incorporate.
Sorry. So on the top left, you'll see again how the photo editing software was used. And mind you, this is during the time of the pandemic, where students were home, but still being able to do the work that was being asked for them to do. Okay, the third one that we did was with one of our curriculum specialists here at the county office. She was a former principal at the elementary school level and a tech specialist. And so she worked with students at Arroyo Valley High School in San Bernardino City Unified School District with students in the child development pathway. And their topics, right, include exploring jobs on EdJoin. I know a site that we're all quite familiar with. They practiced elevator pitches. They practiced interview questions, and they learned about the importance of networking, right? And so that was also a really powerful class for the students as they went kind of through this. And one of the things that really stood out for students as they looked through EdJoin, right, was just the assets that they have in being bilingual, for example, right, or the assets that they have in having certain experiences that are being sought out, right, through the job postings that they were able to find. So that was a very neat experience for them as well. This again was a 2-session micro internship, 2 90-minute sessions. And in the middle of the session, there was a homework assignment that students had to do where they had to do a scavenger hunt of EdJoin and find 3 positions that best align to their interests, their passions, and their capabilities. So here's some of the feedback that we got from students right after. And so I'll give you a second just to take a look and read through that.
Shazad, we also have a question from Diane Walker regarding slide 4. She was just wondering if students got feedback on their designs submitted for the campaign.
Yes, so Diane, they did. So what happened was in the micro internship with Tecton, that was a 2-session micro internship. The presenter talked about what she does in the first session, and she gave them the assignment to do right during the intersession break. And so when they presented in the second session, they got feedback not only from the presenter, but also from the students. And the beauty of having a smaller group was that it really became a tabletop, kind of a conversation where students felt comfortable, right, in sharing ideas and constructive criticism. And so that was a nice way to kind of go about that. So good question. And so as you can see, right, through some of the feedback, students really valued, the real world problem solving that they don't get in school a lot. Strategies in creating and editing photographs in a very real context, the importance of relationship building within companies and outside. They also gave us feedback on how to make the sessions better, which was appreciated, taking breaks and adding some quick games. And so those are some of the iterations that we try to put in the toolkit that I'll be sharing with you in just a few minutes. So let's take a look at some student voices, because we know that's always the best. So here we go. Let's take a look.
I just wanted to preface that I used a white background on books that were mostly darker in color. And then on the top book, it was white. And so when I used the tool to cut out the books from the background, and when the calculator too on top, it's so you'll be able to see, but it was a learning experience for me.
Okay, great. Let's see.
So the company that I named is Intelligence Reserve, and it's actually not a product company. I just used it as a background for the actual just like a display for a tutoring service.
Cool. I love how you use the tools that we went over, even though like you're saying it's a learning experience. I feel like that's exactly the point. And I can see that here. I can see that you utilize the magic eraser for the background removal. Did you add a shadow behind the calculator?
I tried to, and then also in the very bottom of the books, but that was a learning experience too.
Right, so I think the student voices are always so powerful, right? And you saw this particular student working from home, right, and trying to do this. What was also interesting about this one was, you think about the different byproducts, right, that come around because of an experience like this. One of the students in here, was not as focused in one of the sessions, and so you could see, her ceiling, the ceiling fan, and she's not paying attention, as I'm sure a lot of us experienced, right, during the pandemic working with students. And so the teacher from this class, right, really took that as an opportunity to show the student, right, the value of networking. And so working with the student, right, she wrote an apology email that was sent to the presenter. And I think that kind of goes to show you another element of these sort of experiences that isn't even planned for. Let me share with you the next one. This is with our students in San Bernardino City in the child development pathway.
Shazad, before you start that one, if you don't mind putting the PowerPoint in presenter mode, I know some people said that would help them see it better.
Sure.
But other than that, the visuals and the audio looking good, sounding good.
Okay, perfect. Let me do that.
Something else they noticed, Marissa. First, I noticed there's a lot of jobs, like especially in California. Like all the other states are like little tiny numbers, and then California like had a huge number. Like whoa. And then I noticed that there's like a lot of jobs. I think it's easy for people to, when they think of a school, they kind of just think of like teachers, principal, like that's pretty much it. But there's so many other jobs, like teacher jobs wasn't even really on there. Like there was like more of other jobs. Like they definitely like were more in number than like the actual teaching jobs.
For sure, and especially right now, it's October.
Yeah, so this was, again, just another example, right, of how powerful these experiences are when students get firsthand experience, right? When they not only see the different types of jobs that are available beyond just teaching, and we know about those in terms of the classified jobs that are available, but then to also be able to respond to questions, right, for entry-level positions that are used in the K-12 setting, right? So, this group, right, discussed classroom-based scenarios for entry-level positions that support teachers in the classroom. There's a partnership that this particular district, San Bernardino City, has with the local community college as well, where students are taking courses, towards becoming a classified, aide they can come back and try to get a job, right, within the school district as well. And that's really supported by the network that they've been able to put together. The next one is a little hard to hear. So just lean in a little bit.
Something else.
Let's see. Okay, this is it. So I'll try to raise it up as much as you can, but just lean in a little bit.
Program as well, like doing like the like modifying computers, yeah, Java's computer science as well. So I wanted to follow in his footsteps and do the same thing as him, develop programs, some develop AI, for example. Like do things like
very
that.
cool. Cool. So that's a very interesting field, and I'll tell you, and this is going to lead into my next thing I'm going to talk about. But being in development is fun, right? You got to keep trying. You got to try different things. You got to keep attacking it. But what you want to make sure you're also able to do is collaborate and partner, because a lot of good ideas are going to come from various people, right? Much like Conversations at Converge One, it was actually developed by a group of people. It wasn't just one guy. Well, one guy had a good idea, and then everybody kind of contributed. Okay, Derek, for you, where do you want to go in your future in computers?
I mean, I personally just like coding a lot. Like I like the frustrations of having to keep going at it, and then the satisfaction when you finally like get something right. Like I done a bit of competitive programming, and the questions they give you, it's frustrating to do it, but I love the satisfaction that you get when you finally get it done. And like if I can have a career just doing that, I would certainly want that.
Problem solved. I like it.
Yeah.
Good. James, where do you want to go with this career?
Yeah, this one was a really interesting session, right? Because you see the need, right, for all of our students to gain work-based experiences, right, as they go through their educational careers, not relegate that just for a certain group, right? So this group really enjoyed the conversations with this presenter, and each of our industry partners had a very different style about them and a different way to kind of approach things. He had a very informal sort of a style where he asked each of the students about their backgrounds, their interests, and he was very intentional, right, in tying things to their backgrounds and interests, versus one of our other presenters, right, who had to be coached and kind of prompted, right, to even ask questions to the students and not just wait passively for their responses. So we've got some tools in the toolkit that will also help schools or districts looking to do this to be able to help out with that as well. So let's move forward and
program as well, like doing like the program as well.
All right, so let's take a look at the toolkit. Yes.
I wasn't seeing that last video. I just wanted to let you know that I'm seeing your presentation screen right now in present mode.
Oh, none of you were able to see the last video?
It's in edit mode, but I see people shaking their heads. Yeah, we did not see the last video.
I'm sorry. Let me put it back on. Can you still see the slideshow in?
I'm seeing the slideshow, but more in like a edit mode rather than
okay.
present
Okay.
mode.
Yeah, so let me play it in this mode because I think I've got like multiple screens and I'm having some issues with that. So at least you'll be able to see it and hear it a little bit. Yes, so I'm going to play it again. And then please interject if you're not able to hear it or see it.
Program as well, like doing like the like modifying computers, yeah, Java's computer science as well. So I wanted to follow in his footsteps and do the same thing as him, develop programs, some develop AI, for example. Like do things like
very
that.
cool. Cool. So that's a very interesting field, and I'll tell you, and this is going to lead into my next thing I'm going to talk about. But being in development is fun, right? You got to keep trying. You got to try different things. You got to keep attacking it. But what you want to make sure you're also able to do is collaborate and partner, because a lot of good ideas are going to come from various people, right? Much like Conversations at Converge One, it was actually developed by a group of people. It wasn't just one guy. Well, one guy had a good idea, and then everybody kind of contributed. Okay, Derek, for you, where do you want to go in your future in computers?
I mean, I personally just like coding a lot. Like I like the frustrations of having to keep going at it, and then the satisfaction when you finally like get something right. Like I done a bit of competitive programming, and the questions they give you, it's frustrating to do it, but I love the satisfaction that you get when you finally get it done. And like, if I can have a career just doing that, I would certainly want that.
So, problem solving. I like it.
Yeah.
Good. James, where do you want to go with this career?
All right. Sorry, guys, I'm not able to check the chats, and I saw some of the messages in there, but I hope that came out okay and you were able to see it. So let me stop sharing and let's jump into the toolkit.
Absolutely. Would you like me to put that link in the chat yet, or did you want to show it?
Yeah, no, that'd be great if you could put it in there, right? So can you guys see my screen? Yeah, perfect. All right. So the toolkit, we wanted to kind of put this together so that anybody who wants to try and do this, right, in their districts, their school sites, had resources built in that they could modify and kind of use, just given our experience. And so that's the reason why we kind of put this together. So let's take a look at what we have in here. We said micro internships are virtual interactions in small groups where students are allowed to ask industry experts in-depth questions, learn and practice foundational workplace-related skills, practice work-related exercises. One of our partners that is not showcased in here is a ceramic artisan manufacturer, a small company in Ontario. And what she had the students do was take a picture of an image, create a posting for it, and post it on Wayfair, right? Because that's her business. That's what she does. And so again, that was a skill that they could really practice, right, and do it remotely as well, right? And I think we always talk about social capital as well, right? So this is also an opportunity for students to broaden their network. And we always talk about it's not just important for students to know what they know, but it's important, to think about who knows what they know as well. So this is an opportunity to do that as well. So, we gave ourselves about 8 weeks in terms of this timeline. And so we started off 8 weeks with our industry partner recruitment, identify potential partners in your region, contact them, send an email. We've got a sample email in here. Can you see the sample email? Yeah, perfect. So, again, we want to make it as easy for schools and teachers because our goal with this, right, was for a teacher to leverage their network to be able to go out and reach their partners, right? So here's a sample of what that looks like. I won't go through it all, but you know where it is. You'll see in the toolkit here, we've included a flyer, right? So this was the flyer that we kind of put together. One skill, 4 to 5 students, 90 minutes, standards aligned. What standards are those? They're the standards for career ready practice in CTE. If you could teach one skill critical for success in your job, addressing the most common problem in your daily job functions, what would it be, right? That was our prompt to our partners to have them kind of thinking about what they want to kind of hone in on. Because even our partners, a lot of times, right, want to go big and broad instead of being very specific. 7 weeks prior, facilitate a meeting with the partner, using Zoom, review some of the discussion points. We've got those here as well. Again, really kind of focusing in on, introducing, what a day in the life looks like for about 10 minutes in your job, in really focusing on the skill development, right? The guided interaction of the skill, giving them some strategies about what they need to do, asking questions to all students, pose and discuss common problems, seek feedback orally, check for understanding, right? Things that we as educators might know, but they may not know, right? So this was a really interesting piece in working with our partners to make sure that we could identify and kind of structure the presentation in a way to kind of meet parts of this format. We used a form with our partners, and this is what the form kind of looked like. So as we kind of met with the partner online, we had them fill out this form for us with their name, the presenter's name. This was a drop down with the career ready practices. And then when you go down here, right, a date and a time that worked best for them, you list the activities, either their discussion topics, case studies, exercises, scenario-based tasks, or demonstrations that will be done in this session. If you're having multiple sessions, is there an independent activity or task to be completed? And then the approximate amount of time, right, to complete the activity. right? We thought it was important to capture the amount of time students were spending the independent activity as part of our reporting, towards the time that students were spending, right? And then any supplies or materials that we needed for the session itself. We also have Google Forms here that we've created that can be, you can make a copy and then edit it, right, to kind of fit your needs. Again, we wanted to make it as simple for educators. You can go in and put your logos, et cetera, right, and modify it any way you feel you can do as a way to kind of use it within your contexts. Again, during that 7-week period as well, we created a student application for students because we wanted it to kind of mimic what happens in the real world. Again, here's a sample of what we kind of put together. We used SurveyMonkey, for this, and here's what it kind of looked like, right? Trying to mimic, again, what happens in the real world. We limited this to 11th and 12th graders only. We asked them these 3 questions. Right? Why are you interested? 3 words that best describe you, and how do you feel this experience will help you in the future? We put down here, an understanding of the expectations as well during that time. And it was nice because we had about 12 to 15 participants for each of these sessions that we screened the applications for with the teacher and based on their application and what they had put in there. Again, Google Forms here as well that can be modified. Student recruitment 6 weeks prior. Here's a sample flyer that we had kind of put together as well that was circulated to the teachers that were marketing this. And again, it was, again, just stating the obvious, but the students would also earn a digital badge that I'll share with you at the very end as well. Right, and then here again is an email that we sent to the teacher, right, or that was forwarded by the teacher to the students. It also included the address of the company and a website in case they wanted to go and kind of do some research on the back end. It also included what the session plan was, and what the topic was as well. And, we hadn't planned for this when we kind of put this together, but the beauty of having our industry partners fill out that form was really helpful because all of the information here, right, came from stuff that they put in. Some of them, again, were more guided than others, but everything that you see on there, right, came from the industry partner that we kind of captured through that form that we had as we worked with them.
We have a question.
Sure.
Do you require your businesses to sign an MOU with your district prior to them participating in the micro internships?
No, we didn't do that. Student application screening. Again, we monitor this, for submissions. We screen the applications. Student correspondence, right? We have sample emails here, again, making it as easy for the teacher as possible. If a student got accepted, or this is what that kind of looked like. And again, 2 different messages here from a couple of the different pilots that we were having. We had a simple registration system set up for our students as well, because again, we wanted them to apply for the position, get a notice of acceptance, but then register for the presentation as well. And so that's in here as well. That was done about 4 weeks prior to the session. 2 to 3 weeks before, we made sure that students completed a permission slip, and you'll see samples in here from our school districts that used it as well. And it was nice because this particular school district, right, sent this information, including the website, to the parents as well. And so you can see that in some of the samples that are here as well. But we also have a sample release waiver that was used. We used a couple of different ones that you can see samples in here as well. And then as we got closer, right, 3 weeks prior to the session, right, we want to really connect back with our partner, right, and make sure they were comfortable, they were ready. And so, this was an important document that we kind of put together, right, based on the feedback that we got from our partners as we debrief with them afterwards, right? So, a sample agenda, and again, we talked about you can use it, you can modify it, or just ignore it, right? Because we wanted to give our partners the freedom that they needed. Again, from our 3 presenters that we had, 2 of them just kind of went with their flow, right? But one of them needed a lot of guidance, and this document kind of helped, right? So, share about who you are, your background, what you do. If you have any marketing materials from your company or your business, please be able to share those as well. One of the pieces of feedback that we got from one of our groups of students is that, hey, for the next session, can we hear more about the company itself? Can we see what the company does? And so I communicated that with the partner. And so for the next session, right, they were able to kind of showcase that to our students, right? Get to know your students. It's like you're sitting around a table, having a conversation, overview of the industry, what comes to mind when you think of the industry, what are some misconceptions, the kinds of job, right? And then kind of focusing in really on the skill, the technique, the process, right? Or the program that's being used. One of our partners was working with a chiropractor. And so working with them around the skill that's needed is very different, right, than working with a manufacturer, right? And so that was, to me, the most intriguing part of this, because I really got to get creative and kind of focus and hone in on what happens. With the chiropractor, we talked about, are there opportunities to teach students about the muscles and the bones, right? That you have to be more familiar with in your industry. Talk about some of the greeting and reception skills, right? That you need to have as patients enter your facility. So that to me was the most intriguing part as we kind of worked with our partners, right? So the skill could be a technical skill, an essential skill, examples using software, problem solving, teach the skill, right? We talked about using the 4-to-1 rule, talk for 4 minutes, have the students share for a minute, call them by name, and then the application of the skill, right? Checking for understanding became really important. And so, this was a great tool that I think, as we kind of pass this on to different districts, this became really helpful as well.
And Shazad, just a heads up, we're about at 40-minute mark. So.
Okay, perfect. So I have about 10 minutes?
About
5? Okay.
I think we need a few minutes at the end.
Okay, no worries. Facilitation, right? Just kind of tips for our teachers on how to begin the session, what to do during the session, and at the end of the session. We got student feedback, and so there's a sample email here that was sent to students for their feedback. We recognize our students with digital badges, and so here's just a process on how to create an account and how to get those badges. I want to share this with you, which is the criteria for the badges. So this is the badges, the badge that the students received. If you look at this one here, manufacturing and product design, every badge had an earning criteria, right? So in this case, students were informed of the different types of jobs. They explored professional industry grade photos in marketing. They took a staged photo to represent a mock company brand. They edited the photo. They applied marketing principles and uploaded the photo to Wix or Adobe Spark, featuring a tagline, right? And then down here, the standard for career ready practice that applied, right, for that particular micro internship. And then we appreciated our partners, and so here, go in and take a look. It's a little video thank you note that we put together, and here's some feedback, right, that we got from one of our partners in that. So I'll open it up to questions since we're a little short on time. What comes to mind?
Mr. Bojani, how long did it take you to develop this? And initially, I know you mentioned several of your partners. Did you phase in or do a gradual rollout, moving from maybe one partner to expand it?
You know what, because we're in the pandemic, right, we were all kind of really looking for things to do. And when I say things to do, just to kind of fill the gap, right, for our students not having those experiences, we just kind of dove in. The 3 pilots that we did happened over a span of about 2.5 months. And during that time, right, we were working with different partners, throughout that time. What's interesting is that our partners really enjoyed this format. And they, and a lot of our districts, right, are continuing to use this format even now when, schools are back in session and students are able to go back in person as well.
Thank you.
Sure. What else comes to mind? Variations on how this can be used. I know one of our districts, right, San Bernardino City, works with Cal State San Bernardino and their teaching students. And so what they did was they utilized this particular model, and instead of going to industry partners, they went to their students, the teaching students in the credential program, right? And part of what the students had to do to meet their requirements was to do one micro internship with students, right, who are in these pathways, in the child development pathways, or learning about psychology, et cetera, as a way to not just interact with students, but also a way to kind of build their network, right, with a future district that may be an employer for them.
Any other questions? Yeah, a lot of appreciative comments in the chat. Just thanking you for sharing. Feel free to unmute if you have any final questions.
So you did this during the pandemic, so you were meeting during the school day, correct? So now that we're not in, out of school, is this happening? Do these happen during the student's school day or after school? And I apologize if you already said that. I came in.
No, I haven't. That's a great point. So a couple of things, right? Some of our teachers are doing them during the school day, during their class time. They would have a small group of students, right, kind of do this with the partner within the class setting. They're also happening at lunchtime, right, and after school clubs as well. So those have been the few different formats that have been able to kind of take place, right, where they are right now. That was a good question, Sherry. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any final questions? Despite my alarm going off with you.
No, that's all right.
Sorry about that. I do see somebody in the chat wrote, are the industry professionals coming onto campus?
For the micro internships, or just in general, Kelly?
No, I meant for the micro internships, since now students are back on campus. Are you having the industry professionals for these micro internships still do it via Zoom, or are they coming onto campus for the internships?
Yeah, no, you know what, we've really found that a lot of our partners really value the Zoom format. I know a couple of our presenters, one of them particularly, said, hey, I have an hour lunch. I'm going to tag in another half hour and do this during my lunch break, right? And so for them, right, the idea of valuing their time, the idea of not having to drive, and we're a pretty big county, and for us, right, with school districts that are rural and small versus big, some of them have these resources. So we've also done a model where for a couple of them, right, we've had students from multiple districts join, right, and create this cohort of 6 students and be able to kind of get in touch with this professional that may be on the other side of the county.
Okay, well, I think we need to wrap it up here. And I know there are, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name correctly, but did you have a question? I saw your hands go up.
Svetlana?
Svetlana, yeah, if there's no time, it's okay.
No, Svetlana, there's definitely time. I was just going to say we dropped the evaluations in the chat, so please make sure to complete those. And I'm also going to show the certificate from today's section. So if you guys want to take a photo of that, if you need to show proof that you were in attendance today, please feel free to take a screenshot of that. But other than that, we can keep the questions going. I just wanted to interject there. So please, Svetlana.
Well, thank you. I just wanted to know if, and I apologize again if you covered this, but if you've been able to develop longer term relationships with employers who are then interested in taking on more intensive levels of work-based learning over time. So what does that look like?
Yeah, no, that's a great point, right? So this was so it's interesting, right? Because we were piloting it, we wanted to go to our partners that we knew would be able to do this, right? And so we had some relationships, right, with 2 of our partners in here. The third partner, right, was one that we used as just a doorway to get in, right? Because it was low-hanging fruit, right? They could do this from the comfort of their office, right? We were there to kind of facilitate that. And so we've leveraged, right, them for other opportunities along the way as well, right? Since that one interaction. And so that's been a great kind of byproduct of this as well, right? To be able to do that. So yeah, that's a great point.